Hello my motor enthusiasts. You're tuned into F1 Motor Fever podcast.
And today, Enzo, we delve into a riveting topic, Mercedes' bold move in Formula 1. It's all about passing the baton, isn't it?
Absolutely, William. With Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari, the spotlight turns to a young prodigy, Kimi Antonelli. He's stepping up as Mercedes' new hope.
Quite the shoes to fill, moving up from Formula 2 at only 18. What's the word on his readiness?
Toto Wolff believes he's the next big thing. But there's chatter about whether jumping to F1 this soon is a wise call.
Pressure can be a double-edged sword, right? How's Antonelli coping with the expectations?
Remarkably well, considering his age. He's been under the Mercedes wing since he was 11. Yet, the real test is how he handles the F1 circus.
It's a gamble, promoting him without a full season in F2. Could this strategy backfire for Mercedes?
It's a risk, William. But in F1, as we know, fortune often favors the bold. Let's unpack this further. Hello my motor enthusiasts. This is Enzo, your guide to everything racing.
And this is William, at your service.
You're tuned into F1 Motor Fever podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated with all our high-speed discussions.
Indeed, never miss out on the action.
Let's put the pedal to the metal. Very intriguing, isn't it? Toto Wolff has been at the helm of Mercedes for over a decade, shaping it into a powerhouse in both Formula 1 and the wider sporting world.
Certainly, his management of Lewis Hamilton brought unprecedented success. 85 Grand Prix victories and 6 World Championship titles since 2013.
Yet, despite this monumental success, Wolff has harbored a long-time interest in Max Verstappen, a talent Red Bull snapped up early and developed swiftly through their program.
It's interesting to note, isn't it? While Mercedes has been influential, Red Bull's junior program was seen as the benchmark, especially after their rapid integration of Verstappen into F1.
Precisely. And that's brought them 61 Grand Prix wins and 3 titles in a period comparable to Hamilton's time at the top with Mercedes. It highlights the intense competition and strategic foresight needed in F1.
With Antonelli near to stepping into F1, do you think Mercedes is now setting a new standard for driver development programs?
It seems so. They're demonstrating a well-structured approach, despite having only 3 drivers graduate to F1 so far. It's about quality, not just quantity.
True, the focus must be on nurturing capable drivers rather than just racing to fill seats. The future looks promising for Antonelli if he's managed well.
Agreed. Let's keep an eye on how this unfolds. It's going to be an exhilarating journey to follow. Full throttle. Now, it's intriguing to think that Kimi Antonelli, only 17 years old, is already poised to step into Lewis Hamilton's sizable shoes at Mercedes in 2025. Given the early recruitment and his rapid rise, it does paint a picture of Mercedes' strategy in youth development.
It's quite a strategy, signing Antonelli at 11 and managing his career so tightly. But I do wonder, does this come at the expense of other promising drivers within their program?
Exactly the point. The story goes that Mercedes might be sidelining other talents like Paul Aron, who was ready to move up to Formula 2 but was apparently passed over in favor of Antonelli. Makes you wonder if all facts are clear or if there's more to it.
Sounds like a call to our reporter might clear up the doubts, eh?
Quite right. Let's give her a bell quickly then. Hello, all good? I'm here discussing Mercedes junior driver movements. Can you confirm the situation with Antonelli and Aron? Right. Got it. Cheers, catch you later. Hanging up now. Well, it turns out the information was spot on. Antonelli is indeed set as Hamilton's replacement, and it seems Aron was indeed sidelined to make room for Antonelli in Formula 2.
That must be tough for Aron, but it shows the cutthroat nature of these development programs. Only the very best, or perhaps the most strategically important, make it through.
Precisely. It's a high-stakes game, and Mercedes seems to be playing it with an eye firmly on the future. Let's see how this decision pans out in the coming seasons. Full throttle. Speaking of transitions, Paul Aron's decision to leave Mercedes and join High-Tech GP for the 2024 Formula 2 season has proven quite the wise move. He's now a strong contender for the championship as a rookie.
It reminds me of a racing event I attended recently. Seeing drivers make bold moves for their career, breaking away from the expected path, can really redefine their trajectory. Surprisingly, I found myself in a similar situation in my early commentary days, having to make a tough choice to leave a comfortable position for a new opportunity.
That's quite fascinating. Aaron's move also brings to mind the broader implications of loyalty in motorsports. Gwen Lagru and Toto Wolff have emphasized loyalty in the Mercedes Junior team, but sometimes, as Aaron showed, you have to forge your own path to progress.
Indeed, and it's interesting to note how Mercedes manages their junior drivers. They usually give them time to develop rather than rushing them, but in Aaron's case, it seems he had to take matters into his own hands to ensure a breakthrough.
Absolutely. And while Aaron is thriving in Formula 2, Frederik Vesti has taken a different route by becoming Mercedes' reserve driver. This weekend at the Italian Grand Prix, he'll be watching from the sidelines as Antonelli gets track time in the Mercedes-AMG Formula 1 W15.
It's a tough pill to swallow for Vesti, I'm sure. Watching a junior surpass you, especially when you've dedicated years to the team, challenges one's patience and career strategies.
Indeed, it does. It shows the delicate balance between loyalty and career progression in such a competitive environment. Let's see how these decisions play out for all involved. What do you think about Mercedes' approach with Antonelli? They've really thrown him into the deep end, expecting him to swim rather than sink.
Honestly, it's a bold move, certainly. Throwing a 17-year-old into such a high-pressure environment is risky. It reminds me a bit of what Red Bull has done in the past, sometimes pushing their young talents too hard, too fast. It's a gamble that can really pay off or backfire.
That's a fair point. Toto Wolff seems confident that Antonelli can handle the pressure, despite the mixed results so far this season. It's fascinating he mentioned the need to throw a champion in the cold water. It's quite a telling analogy.
Indeed, and while that approach might forge a strong competitor, it also places an enormous amount of pressure on young shoulders. The fact that Antonelli is competing in Formula 2's mammoth 28-race schedule and still has to find time for Formula 1-specific learning is a testament to the challenges he faces.
Absolutely, and Wolff's comments about the disparity between Antonelli and Ollie Bearman also highlight an important aspect of team dynamics. It's not just about individual performances, but how those fit into the team's strategy and future plans.
True, and it's crucial for a team like Mercedes to maintain that balance. They have a reputation for precision and excellence, so how they manage Antonelli's development will be watched closely, not just by fans but by their rivals as well.
Certainly, the spotlight is on them. It will be interesting to see how this strategy unfolds and whether Antonelli will indeed rise to the challenge as expected, or if this accelerated growth will prove too much. Time will tell, and we'll be here to discuss every step of that journey. It's quite staggering, really, how well Antonelli has managed the intense media scrutiny at such a young age. It was only the other day when he turned 18, and yet he's already demonstrating such maturity in handling the English media sessions impressively.
That's true. It's remarkable how some young drivers handle the spotlight with such composure. Antonelli seems to be a bit of an outlier though, especially when you compare him to his teammate, Ollie Bearman, who seems to have shown more visible frustration this season.
Exactly, and that contrast between the two could not be more pronounced. Despite being only a year older, Bearman's reactions have been noticeably different. It's fascinating how two drivers, so close in age, can handle pressure so differently.
It often comes down to personality and perhaps how they've been conditioned through their junior years. Speaking of handling pressure, it's interesting to note how James Vowles, now with Williams, has always emphasized a patience-led approach, much like Wolff. Yet, he admitted that putting a driver in too soon can really burn them out.
That's a crucial insight. It makes me wonder if sometimes the excitement around a young talent can lead to decisions that might not be in their best interest in the long run. Wolff himself admitted he might have spoken too soon about Antonelli taking over Hamilton's mantle.
And now, with Wolff declaring Antonelli part of the 2025 lineup even before an official announcement, it adds another layer of expectation on him. It's a gutsy call, and it showcases the confidence they have in him but also ramps up the pressure even more.
It surely does. And amidst all this, it's Antonelli's communication skills that seem to have captured everyone's attention. His ability to articulate well in media sessions, despite initially not being confident, shows a learning curve that's as steep as his career progression.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? On one hand, his proficiency in dealing with the media at such a nascent stage of his career could steer him towards becoming a well-rounded professional, but on the other, the immense early exposure must be incredibly challenging to manage.
Absolutely, it's a balancing act, and only time will tell how well Antonelli manages this as he steps up to greater challenges. It will undoubtedly be intriguing to follow his journey and see how it unfolds in the high-stakes environment of Formula 1. It's really intriguing how some team principals are now adopting more aggressive strategies in terms of driver promotion, similar to the approach Wolff has taken with Antonelli. Vowles, for instance, has placed Franco Colapinto in the seat for the remainder of 2024 without a full season in Formula 2 under his belt. It seems like the norms are being redefined.
Yes, and it's interesting to see the shift in mentality across the teams. Ayako Matsu's thoughts on Behrman's rookie season are quite telling as well. It appears there's a growing acceptance of mistakes as part of a driver's evolution, provided they're the right kind of mistakes. This could signify a broader shift in how young talents are nurtured in the sport.
Absolutely, and speaking of nurturing, the pressure on these young drivers is immense. Antonelli, for instance, not only carries the expectations of Mercedes but also the hopes of many fans back in Italy. It's a massive weight for a teenager, especially with the Italian media's focus intensifying.
That's a valid point. The involvement of national pride in sports, particularly in Formula One, can't be understated. Antonelli's situation is particularly complex given his potential to be Italy's greatest racing talent in a generation, yet he's under Mercedes rather than Ferrari's wing.
Yes, and one can't help but wonder if the pressure on him would have been different had he been part of the Ferrari driver academy instead. The dynamics of national pride and team allegiance are fascinating in this context.
Indeed, and the scrutiny isn't just about on-track performance. It extends to how well these drivers can engage with the media, manage public expectations, and navigate the complex world of Formula One politics. Antonelli's handling of the media so far has been impressive, but the real test will be how he copes with the pressures once he's part of the Formula One grid.
That's very true. The next few years will be critical for Antonelli and his peers like Behrman and Colapinto. Their careers are being fast-tracked, and it will be interesting to see how they handle the transition. The impact they have on their home country's interest in the sport will also be something to watch.
Certainly, their stories add a rich narrative to the sport, increasing its global appeal and bringing in fans who might not have followed Formula One closely before. The evolving landscape of driver development and team strategies will undoubtedly keep us all hooked.
Just a side note on where this information is coming from. I was reading a fascinating piece on Formula Scout, written by Ida Wood, published late August 2024. It sheds light on how Antonelli's management needs to align with his maturity to really help him realize his Formula One dream.
Formula Scout, yes, a solid choice for in-depth motorsport reporting. It's always beneficial to draw on such credible sources. It ensures the discussions we have here are based on well-researched information, which is crucial in keeping our narrative both engaging and factual.
Absolutely, it's essential to verify facts, especially when discussing careers that are as dynamic and public as those of young Formula One drivers. It builds trust and adds depth to our understanding.
Indeed, in an era where information is plentiful yet varying in accuracy, leaning on dependable sources like Formula Scout helps us provide our listeners with not just news, but news that's been thoroughly vetted.
Right, and with the stakes so high for these drivers, getting the full picture becomes even more critical. Shall we delve deeper into how these young talents are shaping the future of Formula One? The role of media in shaping the public image of young drivers like Antonelli is quite significant. There's this constant balancing act between promoting these drivers and protecting them from the pitfalls of early fame and excessive hype. With Antonelli, the media have been keen to snag eye-catching remarks due to his large, young, and very active online fanbase.
Speaking of which, why do these drivers have such different numbers of followers? Isn't their skill on track what should matter most?
That's a bit of a schoolboy question, isn't it? The world of Formula One and even Formula 2 isn't just about lap times and podium finishes. Marketability, charisma, and off-track persona can attract fans just as much as on-track prowess. Plus, with social media, these drivers are more than just athletes, they're celebrities.
Fair point, but remember, not everyone tuning in is a die-hard racing fan. Some might be new to the sport and genuinely curious about aspects that might seem obvious to you or me.
You're right, but let's not dumb it down too much. Our listeners might switch off if we're explaining the basics like why drivers have social media followers.
Still, it could be an interesting discussion point, especially considering the influence these drivers wield online. It's all part of the evolving landscape of sports where personal branding is just as crucial as performance.
The dynamics between young drivers and their teams are fascinating, especially in lower formulas like Formula 2. Unlike Formula 1, there's a bit less of a corporate veneer in F2, allowing drivers more freedom over their social media and personal branding. This genuine personality portrayal resonates well with fans who follow not just the victories but also the struggles of these young talents.
It's intriguing, isn't it? The emotional bond that builds up between the drivers and their followers. Hundreds of thousands of people become almost a part of the driver's extended family, feeling every bump on the track almost as keenly as the drivers themselves. That must bring immense pressure but also a strong sense of community.
Absolutely, and while drivers technically don't owe anything to their fans, in reality, they cannot ignore their role as public figures. With someone like Antonelli, the pressure is intense, given his youth and the spotlight on him. It's a test of character as much as it is a test of driving skill.
Mercedes has been particularly keen on managing how Antonelli is seen and balancing how much they push him forward. They've got to be cautious. Too much too soon, and they risk not just his career but his well-being. They've already been criticized for potentially holding back other young talents in their rush to promote Antonelli.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? On one hand, you have the potential of a young superstar who can redefine a team's future. On the other, there's the very real risk of burning out a bright talent through overexposure and excessive pressure.
Indeed, it's a narrative seen not just in motorsport but across all sports. The rush to find and elevate the next big thing can sometimes overshadow the need to nurture and genuinely support these young athletes. It's something teams and managers need to be ever mindful of.
William Turner, have a butchers at what the virtual crowd's saying about the latest from the racing world, would you?
Right, let's dive into this then. User Icom Coffee announced, quote, Williams Racing announces that Franco Colapinto will race with the team for the remainder of the 2024 FIA Formula One World Championship season, unquote. It's always buzzing when there's a mid-season driver swap, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. What's the paddock chatter on that?
Well, Nick Susu chimed in saying, quote, to replace a driver mid-season is not a decision we have taken lightly, but we believe this gives Williams the best chance to compete for points over the remainder of the season. Man, I wish him all the best, but it's a super risky move. Can't crash more than Logan though, can he? Unquote.
That's one way to put it. What else?
Visionary Socialist pointed out that, quote, Monza should be okay, but Singapore seems like a hell of a second race in Formula One to have. Which is why it was so impressive for Lawson to get points there, unquote. But then, admin Yak846 corrected him, saying, quote, we race in Azerbaijan then Singapore. So yeah, definitely not a great first 3 races, unquote.
A trial by fire for the young lad, then?
Exactly, Ax2014 agrees, calling it a trial by fire. Then, still uses AOL adds a bit of praise for another driver, quote, honestly, Lawson absolutely rocked his time in Formula One. I do respect Horner's recent tendency toward driver stability and ongoing support, but it's about damn time for that kid, unquote. Blimey, the language here's a bit ripe, if I read that out, we might lose our sponsors.
Quite a mixed bag of opinions then. It's fascinating how these discussions can provide a real pulse on the fanbase's thoughts, innit?
Spot on. And this narrative will likely thicken as the season progresses. It's all part of the grand drama of Formula One, after all.
Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. It's been a thrilling ride discussing the ups and downs of young drivers in motorsport, and the intense spotlight that follows them. We appreciate you joining us for this journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and consider sharing this podcast. Whether it's on social media or over a cuppa with friends, your support makes all the difference.
Absolutely, and remember to keep those comments coming. It's always a crack seeing what you all think. And who knows? Your insight might just spark our next big discussion. We're here every day, bringing you the best of the racing world, so don't be a stranger.
We're tremendously grateful for all your support and can't wait to have you back for the next episode. There's always something exciting on the horizon here at F1 Motor Fever podcast.
Indeed, whether it's a controversial race decision or a new rising star in the paddock, you'll hear it all from us first. So keep those ears perked and ready for more.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold.